أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We welcome you all, including everyone reaching us through Smart Bilal, YouTube, Radio 1584 and all Madina media platforms. Today's JUMMAH talk at Masjid Al-Ahaikh, that is at the entrance of Lodya, Pretoria, Republic of South Africa, is entitled Islam's Answer to Priesthood and Monasticism. The talk will be delivered by Sheikh Abdul Aziz, who is conductor of local and international halqas. He is a writer, a researcher, and a speaker on various Islamic subjects. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اتخذوا أحبارهم ورهبانهم أربابا من دون الله والمسيح ابن مريم وما أمروا إلا ليعبدوا إله واحد إله إلا هو سبحانه عما يشركون. صدق الله العظيم. قال الله تعالى في شأن حبيبه إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. صل وسلم وبارك على محمد. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This subject is a bit complex subject. I've been asked to speak on this subject, and I want to make it clear at the very outset that if you're not happy with what I am saying, please talk to me, not to the press. Okay, so let's discuss it. I recited a verse, and I'm going to give the translation of the verse immediately. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in chapter 9 verse 31, and he's referring mainly to the Bani Israel, but by extension he's referring to all of us who move away from the Quran. We take a few steps away from the Quran and seek assistance from others. So Allah says, they take their priests, the ahbar and the ruhban. And who are the priests? Those who embellish and exaggerate. They embellish the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they change it to suit themselves and exaggerate the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And ruhban are the anchorites, those who encourage people to practice monasticism. And I'll explain. And this monasticism is that which is devoted to ritualistic services. That to do something without understanding why you're doing it. Without looking at the Quran to say what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us to do. And these anchorites, these ahbar and ruhban that the Quran talks about, become their lords. They become their priests. For every little thing, we run to them for advice. We forget about opening the Quran and looking what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. And here the translator has said, these, their lords are their masters. But, min dunillah, in derogation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That means they bring down the personality of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and raise the personality of the priests. Min dunillah. But they serve, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, illa liya'budu ilahu wahid, that we should become slaves of Allah the one only. Nobody else. Allah the one. There is no God but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Praise and balanced devotion to Him Far is he from having partners they associate with him. Now the fact that we go to other people besides Allah, we are actually saying, yushrikun. We are making shirk. We are taking the strategy, the personality of Allah, lowering it, and the strategy and the personality of others makes it higher. This verse tells us that we must obey only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not even Isa, the son of Maryam, has to be given that kind of delegated authority. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in chapter 3 verse 79, and this is important, it is not for any human, he can be a Nabi, he can be a Rasul, any human. It is not ma kana li basharin. It is not for any human to whom Allah gives a kitab, the wahi, the Quran, the hikmah, the wisdom, and nubuwwah, prophethood, should say to the people, follow me, listen to me, against the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On contrary, they should be saying, be you slaves of Allah, who is truly your Rabb. You have studied the Al-Kitab and you have studied it earnestly. So even Nabi Muhammad alayhi salam should not be followed if he is not in line with the principle of the Quran. This is what this verse is telling us. We are not slaves to any human being but Allah. Very important. And this verse is actually a charter of human freedom, the extreme individual or collective desire of man in his desire, and it is a desire of human beings to be free. In chapter 7, verse 3, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ittabi'u ma anzala ilayka min rabbik wa la tattabi'u min duni awliya wa la tattabi'u min duni awliya qalilan ma tadhakkarun. Obey, follow, practice, obey the wahi, the revelation given to you from your Rabb. And follow not as friends any wali, any awliya, protector other than him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Little is your remembrance of the admonition. You don't want to remember these things. And in short, what this verse 7 is telling us, chapter 7 verse 3 is telling us, follow the wahi, not the wali. That's in short. Right? Attabi'u ma unzila ilaykum min rabbikum wa la tattabi'u min duni awliya. Wa la tattabi'u. It's an instruction from Allah, not from me. You know, in history, we come across kings who had their sidekicks who used to control the people in history. And in Islam, when we follow these verses, there is no aristocracy, there is no bureaucracy, there is no theocracy, there is no democracy, there is only Quranocracy. Only Quranocracy. All these other things are man-made. And Quranocracy, in which the sovereignty lies in the injunction and laws that are permanent values given by the Quran, which is the only final instruction. Of course, when we look at this history, you find that the Sultan and the kings, with their sidekicks, wanted to control the minds of the people. And They told the people that the priests are the delegated authority of Allah. They have the delegated authority of Allah, and they normally quote this verse of the Quran. They say, Khalifatullah. There's no such thing in the Quran. There's Khalifa fil ard in the Quran, but nobody has delegated authority. Nobody is the vicegerent of Allah. Nobody represents Allah. This is all priesthood to represent Allah. There is nowhere in the Quran Allah says Khalifatullah. Allah says, Inni ja'ilun fil ardi khalifa. You're going to create on earth a Khalifa who is the successor to the previous creation and whose job is to implement the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you read the story of Adam alayhi salam in the Quran, clearly stated, when the wahi, the guardian of Allah comes to you, you follow it, la khawfun alayhim wa la hum yahzanun. Then you will have no fear of what you have done before, nor will you have apprehension of what you're going to do in the future. Be very, very careful. And this is quite often, it is quoted from the member that you are the vicegerent of Allah. Nobody is the vicegerent of Allah. No Nabi is the vicegerent of Allah. No Rasul is the vicegerent of Allah. You are Khalifa fil ard. You are sent to implement the law on earth. You are not Allah. Then the other one is, sometimes we hear it in our khutbah, As-Sultan Zillullah fil ard. La hawla wa la quwwata. The Sultan or the King is the shadow of Allah on earth. We read it. We hear it in our khutbah. Ahanahum wa ahanahu Allah. If you follow him, you follow in Allah. 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 So if you follow your king, your president, then you follow in Allah. Imagine following Jacob Zuma. No, it's not a joke. This is what we have done. The other point is that all these people who we call sheikhs, imams, and maulanas, Allah says in Surah Baqarah, Anta maulana fansurna ala qawmil kafirin. Allah is the only maulana. Guys, get it. There is no human being who is a maulana. If any human being, Yusuf, they come to you, I'll give a talk in the masjid. What's your name, brother? Maulana so and so. Shirk. Maulana, Anta maulana fansurna ala qawmil kafirin. This is, all these things that we bring in life is priesthood. We're creating a section that's not allowed in Islam. There's no priesthood in Islam. Every human being is supposed to know the Quran. If we see Ibrahim alayhi salam, Namrud as we call it, wanted to be God. Musa alayhi salam, he had three people. He had Qarun, he had Haman, and he had Samari. All wanted to control the people's minds. Like today, we get our minds controlled. Why is it that when it is time for Eid al-Fitr or for Ramadan, we can't get our directions from the Quran? We have to wait for the Jamiyat al-Ulama to tell us when it's going to be Eid. Why? I don't know that. My Eid was on a Friday. All your Eid was on a Saturday. Why? Because Allah says in the Quran how the moon functions, how the earth functions, and we should follow that. Same story with Isa alayhi salam. The Hawariyun, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had instructed Isa alayhi salam to find out who will be the helpers of Allah, or who will be the helpers of Isa to implement the law of Allah. And the Hawariyun said, Nahnu, we will be, right? Nahnu Ansar Allah, we will be the helpers of Allah. And they followed the law of Allah. My brothers and sisters, this is a very wide subject, and we need to listen to and follow the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as it's stated in the Quran. Nowhere in the Quran has Allah stated that we must obey any human being. Yeah, we follow the lessons that is brought by the human beings. And the lesson is the Quran. We don't follow anything else. You know when Abu Bakr Siddiq became the Khalif, what he said? When I follow the Quran, you follow me. When I don't follow the Quran, don't follow. That is the lesson of the Quran, right? And when our priests come out and tell us, no, but you want to do this, you want to do that. Brother, show us the verse of the Quran. That should be your question. Jazakallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the strength, and let me add, and the guts to follow the Quran and not the priest. Jazakallah, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adhaban nar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.